Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I do my foundation every single day. So I'm going to be showing you my foundation, concealer, blush, contour, powder, everything. So if you want to see, then just keep on watching. So I've already cleansed and moisturized my skin, and I'm going to go in with my favorite primer. This is the Smashbox Photo Finish Foundation Primer, and it's really awesome for filling in the pores that you may have and kind of just creating a beautiful, smooth canvas. So I just put this in my kind of T-zone and wherever I have larger pores. So I just really kind of push this in so that it fills in my pores. One thing that I really like to do when I'm having kind of some breakouts, just red spots on my face, I like to go in with a green concealer. This one is by Sonia Kashuk. You can get it at Target. But I really like this one because it's not full on green. It has just like a green undertone, and it works really well for canceling out the redness. So I just use my finger and just go right in to these, just kind of like they were breakouts and now they're like healing and are just red and annoying, and this just makes them cover up so much easier rather than just like putting on a lot of foundation or concealer or whatever. But I think this works a lot better than using just like a full-on mint green concealer, because sometimes that can be kind of hard to cover up with foundation, like just like it is hard to cover up the redness. So next thing I want to do is go in with my favorite foundation. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow, and I seriously love this stuff. I know I talk about it or use it in every video, but it's so good. I can't stop using it. I'm just going to dot this kind of just everywhere. This is just, I think, the fastest, easiest way to just slap it on there. I'm actually getting low on this foundation because I use it every day. It's my perfect color. I'm in the shade 202, and it's just, I can't stop using it. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my Morphe M439 just to buff this out. And I just pat, or I don't know, it's kind of like a stamping motion. I kind of just stamp it in rather than rub it, because if you rub it, that's when the brush will leave streak marks on your face. So after I get the first layer blended in, sometimes I can still see a little bit of redness peeking in on my cheeks. So I'll just take a little bit more on my brush and get my cheek area, just because I naturally have a lot of redness on my cheek. So sometimes I just have to give it a little extra love. I always blend down my neck because you never want to have that line where your foundation stops, because it might be a slightly different color. So just always remember to blend down your neck. Okay, so for concealer, I'm going to go in with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. This one is in the shade Chantilly. But the NARS concealer is a really, really great formula. It's really similar, like if you're looking for a cheaper alternative, it's similar to the Maybelline Fit Me. The NARS just has a little bit more coverage, and it's just so creamy, like it says in the name, and it'll just blend in to anything. So I'm just kind of putting this like in the normal spots to highlight. And I also I like this concealer as an eyeshadow primer. I think it works great, so I just throw a little bit on my lid. Okay, so to blend in my concealer, I'm going to go in with my Morphe sponge. This is an awesome sponge. It really does an awesome job at blending anything you need. And when I blend with the Beauty Blender, I do the same thing that I do with the brush. I go in tapping motions rather than swiping it, just because it gives a way more full coverage effect. Like, it won't just wipe away the product, it'll just kind of blend it into your foundation. Okay, so now that my concealer is on, I'm going to set it with the RCMA No Color Powder. I have it in just this container right here, just because the container that it comes in is kind of messy and just stupid pretty much. But I love the powder. It's an awesome powder. So I just dip my beauty sponge in here, and I'm going to just bake under the eyes. And then I always bake my smile lines because my foundation will always crease in my smile lines. So when I'm doing this, I'm not applying a ton of powder. I'm just setting it like with the sponge. So I'll just push it in, but I mean, as you can see, it's not like a ridiculous amount of powder on my face. So I'll do the same thing on my nose. My nose gets pretty oily throughout the day, so I like to make sure it's really set. And then I'll do my eyelids. It kind of, because just in this time that I've been setting the other areas of my face, my eyelids have creased a little bit, so I'll just take this side and like blend out those creases and then go in with the powder. Just, I don't know, because I don't like to set the creases that have already formed. And I don't leave this on for too long because I find that if I do, sometimes it'll alter the color of my foundation, like to make it just a little bit lighter. What I'll do is I'll go in with the Morphe E41, just big fluffy powder brush, and I'm just going to take like a tiny bit more of that RCMA powder, not a lot. And I'll set the outskirts of my face that I didn't bake, so like my temples and cheeks, and then I'll kind of just like rub in the powder that was baking. If you're super dry, you don't have to set your entire face, but since this foundation is a more glowy foundation and I'm like normal to oily, I do usually go ahead and set my entire face just because I think it lasts longer on me. Okay, so now that my foundation is set, I'm sort of looking like a ghost, so I'm going to go in with some contour and bronzer. So I'm going to be taking the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I feel like this has the best colors for my skin tone, so I almost always use this. I'm going to take a Morphe R10, and I'm going to take this middle shade right here and just start to sculpt out my cheekbone. I do a really light hand with this, like as you can see it already is super pigmented, and I'll go back and blend it with my powder brush, but I just kind of go in with that. I'll take it on my temples as well. I like to contour my forehead because it is a bit large, so I'm going to take it a little bit more Now I'm going to take the powder brush that I used to set my face and just kind of go back in and blend out that line because we don't want it to be too harsh. So recently I've been contouring my nose a little bit differently, so I wanted to show you guys how I do that. I use the Morphe E27 and I take this shade in the Kat Von D palette that's a little bit more cool tone and just tap off the excess. And I kind of just lightly brush this down the edge of my nose. And it looks kind of crazy when you do it at first, but this is how I just kind of get the color down, and then I'll go back in a minute and kind of make it more subtle. Because what you're doing is you're just trying to create a slight shadow so that it looks like your nose is thinner than it actually is. So what I do is I take my beauty blender that still has like a little bit of excess powder from the baking, and I'll just go back in and kind of just like blend that out. And I have like this little scab on my nose from a blemish that is trying to heal, so don't mind that. But that's how I've been contouring my nose. For blush, I'll just switch it up every single day, kind of just depending on what look I'm doing. But one blush in particular that's really good for any eye look is this one right here. It's Tarte. It's a Tarte Amazonian clay blush, and it's in the shade Partay, and that's how it's spelled. And it's just a really good kind of nude pinky color that goes with any look. I'm going to take this on the Morphe M530. This is a really great brush because, as you can see, it's not very dense, and it just applies the color very softly, so you don't get a crazy kind of clown blush look. So I'm just going to take this on a brush, and I apply it to my cheeks, but then like swipe it backwards, or not backwards, but swipe it into my contour, because I don't want it to be like only right here. I want it to like kind of all just seamlessly blend together. And I like this blush too because it's all matte, so it just creates a very kind of natural look. So after I do blush, I like to go in again with my powder brush and just kind of tap that in. And now it's time for highlight, and I'm going to be going in with one of my favorite highlights. This is Becca's Champagne Pop collaboration with Jaclyn Hill, and this is such an awesome highlight. As you can see, I've like hit pan on it. It's my favorite. So I'm going to take this on the Morphe M510. This is a really awesome brush too. I used to really love fan brushes, but lately I've really been loving this brush because I feel like you can just move it around so that it doesn't look like a straight line, because with the fan brush sometimes it tended to look like a stripe, and I didn't really like that look. And I really like to take this onto my temple and under the brow bone and just kind of everywhere. But I'm going to do the Cupid's bow. And I put a little bit on the tip and also on the bridge of my nose. This is such a good highlight. I love this so much. I forget how good it is until I, go back in and use it, and it is just so awesome. It looks really good on tanner skin too. Kind of like in the summer when you've got a little bit of, a glow going on. It is so pretty, but it still looks good when I'm, in the middle of winter and kind of paler. Yeah. So the next thing that I love to do, and is a really necessary step for me, is setting my face with a setting spray. I really love the Morphe setting spray, but I just ran out of it, so I'm going to be going in with MAC Fix Plus. This is like the little baby bottle, and this is really awesome too. I just don't like the nozzle as much as the Morphe one. The Morphe one has like that aerosol sprayer, and it just distributes like the mist so nicely. It's an awesome setting spray. So I'm just gonna go in with this one though, because this works great too. And I like to kind of go in like striping motions. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but you'll see. So I'm just gonna take this palette. After I get done spraying the MAC Fix Plus, I like to take my beauty sponge again and take this side of it and just kind of press the mist into my foundation. And I feel like this gives the most natural skin-like look to the base. Like it blends your highlight, your blush, your contour. It blends everything together, and it really just makes the whole entire base just look so natural. And this is one of my favorite things to do, because after you put so much, you know, powder on, it really starts to look like, ooh, you know, it's like accentuating different things that we don't want accentuated, and it just doesn't give a very skin-like look. And so when you apply that spray and then push it in, it just is so pretty. I'm going to go ahead and apply the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. So this is the finished look. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you have any video suggestions, please leave them down below in the comments, and give this video a like and subscribe if you wanna. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!